Hello, not spelling, I'm sorry, science number 6. This is video number 6, and it's for group number 2. It is Wednesday, September 17, 2020. All right, we are going to be reading out of your science book. So go ahead and open that up to, let me see, it is this page here, page 15. All right, mammals, large and small. And you're also going to need this paper here. All right, it says chapter 4, mammals large and small. And this is the page that is going to go with your chapter, the answers you're going to answer for your chapter. So you have two ways of doing there's two ways to answer your questions. If you have a really good memory, which I don't, okay, you can go through and read the entire chapter and then go back and answer these questions. But for those of us like me who have a hard time remembering things, I like to read my questions first. So when I'm reading my chapter, then I'll say, oh, there's the answer for that question, or there's the answer. I can underline it. I can circle it with a pencil. Don't use ink on your papers. That way you can erase later. Or you can highlight it with a yellow. Try to use, if you're going to highlight, which in this case you're allowed to highlight because this is your book. But if you were using a school book or borrowing a book from someone else, I wouldn't write in it or highlight in it, okay? You could probably maybe use Post-its to mark where your answer is. But this is your book. Even though you write in it, please do it nice and neatly and only what's necessary. So I prefer using mostly yellow highlighter because if you accidentally draw a crooked line, it's not that noticeable, whereas you do green or blue or pink, if you squiggle a little, it's very noticeable. Okay, so I'm going to read the first 4 questions. The first question, question A, it says, what is the largest land mammal? B says, what is the tallest land mammal? And what do bears eat? And is the bat a bird or a mammal? Okay, so we have 4 questions that you already have an idea what you need to answer. So what you do is we're going to read this together. Put your finger at the top right here, the green letters that says the variety of mammals is astonishing. We're going to read together. I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm teaching you how to find the answer for yourself. All right. So when you see the answer to one of the questions we just read, underline it very lightly, just very, very lightly. Don't push down hard with your pencil because if you erase it, it won't erase if you bear down hard. All right. Or you can highlight it. You can work on this after you finish watching the video. You can go back and read the chapter again and fill in the answers. But I try not to, at your age, the questions are easy enough for you to answer. All right. So let's go ahead and read. Put your finger on the first sentence. It says the variety of animals is astounding. Variety means that if you have a group of things, they're much alike in many things, but there's some differences between those things. For example, we have a big group of animals, that's one group, but the animals are all very different. So we're going to separate them. We're going to make let's make 2 groups out of all those animals. We have animals in one group that have backbones, which are the vertebrates. Then we have another group of animals that don't have backbones. Those are the invertebrates. So now we have 2 different kinds of animals, but let's take the vertebrates, the ones that have backbones. Those they have some things that are kind of the same, but they have things that are not the same. So let's break that group into 5 groups. Let's break it into mammals, fish, amphibians, reptiles, and I forgot what the other one was. It's fish, mammals, amphibians, reptiles. And if you remember what it is, text me because right now I forgot what it was, what the other group is. All right, so you have the 5 groups. They're all similar in the fact that they have backbones, but then they have some differences, so we separate them by the differences. So we have the first group, which is mammals, and that's what we're looking at today. We have the mammals. So that is a variety. There's many different kinds, variety. Only God could have thought of so many different kinds of animals. If he left that job up to us, we wouldn't have been able to think of that many different kinds of animals, okay? All right, so let's keep reading. God created hundreds of different kinds of mammals. Mammals live in nearly every part of the world, including the ocean. We cannot possibly cover every kind of animal in this book, but we will look at a few of the more interesting ones. Okay, so there's so many different kinds that we will probably never ever get to see all the different kinds in our whole lifetime. All right. If you become a scientist and study animals, you'll be called a zoologist. That means the study of animals. And even then, if you dedicate your life to studying different animals, you probably still won't get to see all the different kinds of animals. Among the largest land mammals are the elephant, the giraffe, and the brown bear. Elephants are the largest of the land mammals. Adult elephants can weigh as much as 6 tons and stand up to 10 feet high at the shoulder. So the elephant's shoulder is probably as tall as the ceiling in your house if you have a low ceiling, okay? That's pretty tall. And that's not including the head part, all right? They have only a little hair around their eyes and their ears, but they're still mammals. Female elephants are called cows, and baby elephants are called calves. They travel in herds. That means you'll always see them in groups of elephants, they won't be by themselves. The oldest female is usually the leader of the herd, and the male elephants are called bulls. Usually they travel alone or with other bulls and only join the herd during mating season. Elephants have long trunks, which they use for drinking and for putting food in their mouths. They also have long teeth called tusks. So there's a picture of an elephant there, and you see these white things coming out of its mouth. Those are tusks, and they're actually teeth. Turn the page to 16. It says that, oh, I'm sorry, let me see. They also have long teeth called tusks that can be used to dig for roots or to remove bark from trees. Elephants are very strong, and sometimes they're trained by people to carry heavy burdens. So in India, they're used a lot to carry cargo. India is a very poor country. Sometimes people don't have trucks or cars, and they're used to carry heavy loads. And they can be trained. You've seen, we don't have circuses very much anymore. Not very. I've never been to a circus, but I know they have elephants in the circuses, and they train them to do tricks. And you've probably seen them in movies. The next paragraph says giraffes are the tallest land mammals. They can grow to be nearly 19 feet tall. That's very tall. This allows giraffes to eat leaves from trees that other animals cannot reach. Being so tall allows the giraffes to see long distances so they can watch for danger. Giraffes can also run very quickly, up to 35 miles per hour. And for a short period of time, giraffes live in the African savanna or in grasslands. One of the most fascinating features of a giraffe is its long tongue, which can be up to 21 inches. Now, a couple of years ago, we took a field trip to the Fresno Zoo, and I don't know if I know Brielle, Elizabeth, Anna, and Josue went, and I'm sure you saw a giraffe, and they're pretty tall. Now, Levi and Alex, I think you were with us. You're already with us. You're probably in beginner class when we went to the zoo. So you guys have seen how tall a giraffe is. The zoo built a platform that you can walk up the stairs and stand on the platform to be closer to the giraffe. And even then, they're still taller than us. They're very tall. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there for a minute and tell you that we have already answered A, B, and C. We've already answered the first three questions. If you didn't catch the answer, you're going to have to go back and read it and look for the answer. It's very easy to find. Otherwise, I'd give you the answer on the board. Now, we're going to read, and so we can find the answer for D, which is the bat a bird or a mammal? But you know what? I think we still have a little bit of reading to do on the bears. Bears are another interesting group of land mammals. Grizzly bears are a type of brown bear, and they live in parts of northern United States and Canada. We are not northern United States, but we do have bears, not in Fresno or Raleigh or Dinuba, but if you go up to the mountains, there are bears up there. And I've got to see one. My sister lives up in the mountains, and one day when I went to go visit her, I saw a bear by her house. Okay? So they live in parts of the northern United States and Canada. A grizzly bear can be up to 8 feet long from head to rear and weigh 800 pounds. The Alaskan brown bear can be up to 10 feet long and weigh up to 1,700 pounds. That would be as heavy as a medium-sized car, probably, a smaller medium-sized car. Bears usually live by themselves after they are about 2 years old. And bears will eat nearly anything. Okay, there's one of your answers. They eat nearly anything, but they most like to eat plants, berries, and they will also eat small animals like fish. When the salmon are swimming upstream, many bears will gather at the edges of the river to catch and eat the fish. Okay, let's move on to page 17. That's an ugly looking bat, isn't it? Bears are very active during the spring, summer, and fall, but they sleep most of the winter. That's called hibernating. When an animal sleeps all winter, they hibernate. During the fall, the bears eat nearly constantly to store up enough fat to keep them alive during the winter. They also prepare a den, which is a little cave, where they will be sheltered from the harsh winter weather. Then they will sleep during the cold weather. When spring arrives, a very hungry bear emerges from its den and begins to eat again. In contrast to the large mammals are some very interesting small mammals. The pika is a small animal that lives on a rocky mountain slopes, and it grows to be about 8 inches long and is similar to rabbits and hares. Other small mammals include mice, voles, hamsters, and gerbils, or gerbils. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Bats are some of the most unusual mammals. Bats? I thought bats were birds. What did you think? These flying mammals might be confused with birds, but a closer examination will show that bats are very different from birds. Bats have hair, not feathers. And what appear to be wings are actually long fingers connected by a membrane that allows bats to fly. So they actually don't have wings. They look like wings, but they're not wings. They're fingers with a web of skin between each finger. Wow, I didn't know that. Bats are unusual also because they can detect objects by sending out high-pitched sound waves and sensing their reflections somewhat like a sonar. Most mammals give birth to live babies, but there are two, the spiny anteater and the platypus, are the only mammals that lay eggs. So there is an exception to that group of mammals, the one group of mammals, that one of the rules is that they give birth to live babies. There's two animals that do not. The platypus and the spiny anteater, they lay eggs. These animals are still considered mammals because they have mammary glands and they still nurse their babies' milk. So even though their babies were born from an egg, they still feed them milk. That's really interesting. They are warm-blooded. The spiny anteater and the platypus are warm-blooded, and they breathe air through their lungs and have hair as well. God has created a wide variety of mammals, and many are cute and cuddly, others are large and scary, but they are all part of the amazing world of animals. Okay, so the chapter answered the first 4 questions for you. Now, and actually the first 5, it says, is a bat a bird or a mammal? You're going to answer what it is, and then E, you're going to say why. If you chose bird, why is it a bird? If you chose mammal, why is it a mammal? Okay? And then F is just basically your opinion. It's not a right or wrong answer. It says, what do you think? What do you think is the most fascinating mammal? And why do you think that? So there's no right or wrong answer. It's just what you like, what you think is the most fascinating. And then H, do all mammals give live births? All right. That was answered in the very last page, page 17, if you didn't catch it. All right. After it finished talking about the bats, that's where you'll find it. And I, what is an example of a non-live mammal birth? What kind of animal is a mammal but does not give birth to a live baby? And that's also in the last page 17, after it talks about the bats, you'll find the answer there. It gives you 2 different examples, okay? Go ahead and look for that and circle it and then write it on your answer sheet. Now, I just want to warn you that number C, where it says, what do bears eat? Excuse me, the line that you write that on, it may not be long enough, so you can get your ruler and draw another line under there, so you'll have enough space to write your answer. Okay, so if you don't have your answers, go back and read it again. You have plenty of time, because this week there will be no history. That will give you extra time to make sure that you get all your answers. Call me, text me if you need help. All right. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.